Well, hello everyone. Maddie Make 25 here, and top hour here is for pretest 30, and for 2016 new release, and basically that I went ahead and you provide right here some like an example right here of like a pretest, and I'm sure that like most of us here have can remember about whenever we were tested, for some subject it was, if it was maybe for chemistry, or if it was sociology or social studies, or if it's English or any type of a subject like that, like a driver's test, or maybe food handler's license, or chef's license, stuff like that. And if it was going to be anything that is containing about any papers or anything, paper documents. But you see right here is I went ahead and include right here is like example right here of like for like a pretest, for pretest 30. That you see right here is I would include right here is the A, for A B C D E F, and is on this side it will be A B C D E F, and basically that I went ahead and I'm like, yeah, that I didn't include no wording such as maybe problem solving, or maybe word matters or anything like that. Please check here for the best answer that applies. Yeah, it could be science, or it could be German, Russian, or if it's anything such as like a social work, any type of test, the more likely you're going to take to where that the way of how it's printed. And sometimes that we may think that if this was right here was an example right here of like a study guide to where it was written in your handwriting, and then you were glancing at, you were staring at the paper or so for about maybe for about 60 minutes, just during class, maybe during the study hall hour, that you were looking at over the answers of the test, and you're like wondering, have right here's a painting right here of me, and like yeah, that you study real hard for the finals, and then all of a sudden it's like that they give you a test. And it's like for any test, to where if we're going to be tested for anything, and not necessarily thinking about that, yeah, that with the test, to where that if we're going to be working a test and necessarily thinking about, like that they ask you to, where that like yeah, like for pencils down, after a certain time. But let's just say on average that if they were give you a test, and then you have right here like they give you, sometimes that you may wonder that why is it that they won't let you use the pen that you have around, that they may give you a pen, and there may be different kinds of pens that you may only have to you may only be able to use blue ink, and then you may only be able to use red ink, or maybe black or something like that. But for most time, that test, a lot of times they would only allow, if anything, about 90 minutes, to do a test. And that one test that more likely contain about maybe about 5 or 10 pages. And you're like warned to where while you're taking a test, to where kind of you wind up pausing for about maybe 20 seconds or maybe 30 seconds, just to kind of review the test. And you're like, okay, the answer's right here. Like, okay, and then and I know that a lot of times that for any test, the way I think about it though is that if it's going to be like multiple choice, pick whatever answers that best describes, and I know that I say more likely that a student would be able to get through that, student, or maybe employee, or whatever that the reason for the pretest is for, that while you're working on a test, that they say is like, please only mark an X, or please fill in it, these circles right here, if you call them pupil, if we call them like bulletins or something like that, and like please fill in these right here. And a lot of times I'm like, when we look at a test to where that after you study, and then that you're given a test, and you're kind of like wondering, okay, mark my answer on which column. So it's like sometimes that which I know it's very aggravating to some students, if they're going to be taking a test, and then you're like warned to where that where do you want to mark your answers, and which one is which. So it's like you kind of kind of gets that that situation to where that I'm sure most students will probably say, yeah, it kind of aggravating, and to thinking about that whenever you're taking a test, and it's like that other people could be moving a little bit faster than you, and then winds up getting you behind and you get real frustrated then. But let's just say that I can go ahead and use right here, like you say, with like this as a study guide. But on your hand, to concentrate mainly on it's like for answer the best as you can to the answers. And I'm sure that like I was also thinking about not maybe not 190 minutes, but a lot of times it's 90 minutes about how long did they give you just to work a test. But if we were to have a test right here, and let's just say that yeah, that you go ahead and fill in that right here, the circle right here. You're like yeah, does it have to be filled in all the way, something like that. But then on your hand, that working right here is like maybe put an X right here. Just like answer that best describes the best answer of our knowledge, or something like that. But let's just say that most tests, though, that while we're taking them, to where a lot of time, like I've seen it before, to where that there's like a portion of the test, there's a section to where that they ask you, say, please write one or two paragraphs, explain your answer, and as well as if they ask you a question and they want you to go ahead and write about 2 or 3 paragraphs or 1 or 2 words about that. If it's going to be math, and then social studies, history, and as well as for a few other exams as well. And I'm sure that seems like a lot of information you lost up to memorize, but I guess the whole part about being tested is that really about for anything that was talked about from that first quarter, and then from the 10 weeks or so of class, or anything that was talked about maybe at the meeting, that they're testing you about from what all you remember. And I'm sure most students, or anybody that more likely wanted to, where there may be a time from whenever, hey, that I can't remember everything, but I say, yeah, well, it's possible that if you remember one thing, and then you may remember something else later on. So it's like, really, I'm like, even like I say that it seems like it's all about mind pressure, to where if you don't know the answers, then more likely it's an automatic fail. They're going to fail you anyway. You're not going to answer it. But and then I included this right here. It's like for my name on the top. It's like thinking that if I say yeah, put your name in, and then the test. The best answers the best of your knowledge. Repeat. But then it's like really that if I say yeah, well go ahead and put my name, or just put my initial, and they're like 1 or 2. A lot of times I'm sure any students will likely say that they only give you 90 minutes, and sometimes you just go jot, jot, jot. I'm like, you just, put the, answer right there, and then right here, and then you're like, just write down a few words, and then they're like, yeah, and then after about maybe 20 minutes or so, mark the best answer for what the okay, the question asked this, do you remember what we talked about during this? Why is it that this or that? And like, okay, okay, that seems like looks like the best answer. And then you look back at the results and you're like, okay, you missed too many, or you missed this one, or what? I thought I got that one right. Well, so I'm sure that really that well, what do you think necessarily, to where is it really about the time limit, or if it's all about really about that maybe the first time or the second time, to where I'm like, you didn't do so well, you may have to take it again, or just like better luck for knowing for the best, the next step, for what's possible we could do. But the way I think about it, though, is like when we take a test, to where you have these different colors right here, you're thinking about, with tests, though, it seems like each time that they are made to trick you, and you're thinking that, yeah, you know the answer, and you turn around like, well, what? That's not, well, that's the answer. I know that's the right answer, because I studied, I reviewed it about 5 times. So really, that I guess you should say that goes by the rules by saying, but on your hand, that really for the pre-test study is knowing that for how well we are willing to work, and then for understanding the study about, yep, that you just be patient, let it, allow yourself to work with that, understand, remembering about, for what all that needs to be done, for show great progress in the test. It's like it takes, for most, recent update, for the best of tests, and like thanks to Best of Knowledge. Thanks for watching.